My name is Tom Zerly. I spent 26 years working with the World Bank in the operational area and retiring about a year and a half ago. During my career with the bank, I spent 4.5 years in our Beijing office coordinating the bank's urban development and water supply program with China. There are a lot of things that I learned about working in China and working with the Chinese, but I wanted today to focus on two aspects of my work. One aspect has to deal with the way and the style in which you communicate with your Chinese counterparts and with your colleagues. You know, China is a culture, is a country that is very much rooted in tradition. Part of this stems from the influence that Confucianism has had on the country, where values such as loyalty, such as righteousness, such as humanity come into play. And so these are factors that influence the way you communicate, that you talk with your colleagues and your clients. I can recall that when I first went to China, there were a lot of topics that were off the table for discussion. This was back in the early 2000s. And things like poverty, things like slums, things like HIV/AIDS, topics like corruption were actually not discussed. And so one had to be sensitive to the fact that people weren't ready to tackle these issues yet, and that one had to be patient, and one had to very carefully find ways to raise issues that were important to the World Bank and its agenda in China, and to the rest of the world more broadly. And I found that with time and with patience, the attitude on the part of many Chinese changed radically, and that today these issues that I mentioned earlier are very much under discussion, are topics that concern the Chinese people so much. For example, environmental protection. That's something now that everyone seems to be worried about and is willing to discuss. And it's a major area of intervention and support on the part of the World Bank. And so I would just suggest to people who are planning to work in China to constantly keep in mind that they have to be patient and they have to look for the right opportunities to raise topics and offer ideas for solution.